and maybe some aggressive roams. We've seen W7M, who are starting on that defensive side, flourish immensely so far in the tournament. They really haven't been challenged yet. Their first game was a 7-1 against Bliss, and their second game was a 7-4 against Wolves. These guys are in hot form. They've only lost 5 rounds in their 2 games, and they only need 3 more best of ones to qualify for our finals at the Forum.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, that graphic of the format was quite big and scary, Dev. I don't know about you, but I saw that graphic cover and I was like, ugh, lines and boxes and things like that. So yeah, to reiterate, for W7M to qualify into the next stage, all they need to do is win 3 BU1s in a row, which I think for the caliber of team that W7M are is actually quite possible. And so we're going to be looking forward to their run going through the bracket, but first they need to take down SCARZ.
Yeah, let's talk about SCARZ for a minute. These guys are making their major debut, and as Fresh and Anne and Jasmine on the desk were saying, this team has really made a name for themselves last year. While it might be unfamiliar to those who don't watch the Japan League, SCARZ 4 times champions inside of Japan. They also won an APAC level tournament. They were champions there as well. And now they're making their major debut, and there's a lot of expectation on this team. What's more, they are now the last hope for Japan and one of the last hope for any team from the Asia-Pacific region. And so I think a lot of people are looking up to SCARZ to have a breakaway performance, but against W7M, it's a very tall order.
Yeah, I think the thing for SCARZ is that for you guys at home that probably don't watch nearly as much Japan League as we do, we have to cover it week to week. SCARZ are, in my opinion, quite unlike a lot of the Japanese teams. When you think of Japanese teams, you think of Varel, you think of CAG, if you're international at home. All these teams that kind of have this really unpredictable, fast, cheesy play style, I think is the right way to put it. But I think out of all the Japanese teams, SCARZ are by far the most controlled in terms of play style, in terms of structure. I think that this is one of the Japanese teams that they know what to do and they do the right things, but they also know how to change the tempo and make it quick as well.
Yeah. Also, what's funny about this is, it's SCARZ international debut. They've never played a Brazilian team before, but likewise, bit of a fun fact, W7 has actually never played a Japanese team before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, of course, because they didn't have any Japanese teams in their bracket.
Yep, yeah, and they never have in any tournament so far, so that's kind of cool. I think it's an interesting clash of regions, 2 teams that have never played teams from each other's regions, unofficial at least. Now, I have heard word on the street, SCARZ have had some really good scrims. Now, of course, a scrim is a scrim, but I've heard other teams at this tournament whisper about, wow, we played SCARZ in scrims and they were really good. And I think especially after what happened in the play-ins, a lot of people are not just to be blunt, a lot of people aren't expecting much out of D+ or SCARZ. They're carrying the weight of Japan and Korea, having all of their teams eliminated in the play-ins, and now they carry the weight of all of those regions, including, people from Southeast Asia, from South Asia, and from Oceania that still have a kind of camaraderie with these other Asia-Pacific regions. There's a lot riding on the shoulders of SCARZ here. There's absolutely no doubt about it. As we finally get into the game!
Yay! Video game on our screens. That's exciting. We have basement defense, though, less exciting. We've brought along Mira. Now, basement is one of the more defender-sided bomb sites of, I would say, the entire competitive pool across all 9 maps that are currently available. So we are expecting W7M to look pretty comfortable here as they set up what is a pretty conservative anchor-centric setup. It doesn't look like they're going for too much of an extension on the roam. Just starting out early, hunting down drones, but for the most part, it's centered there in the late game.
If you look at this operator lineup on the defense, I wouldn't be surprised if you thought we traveled back in time 2 or 3 years. I mean, this is such a classic anchor setup. There's no solace, there's no aggressive roam, at least not from what I can see so far, but there is a hell of a lot of utility in the late round. So SCARZ are going to have to be really efficient in this early round so they have enough time to problem solve the setup that W7M have on site.
Yeah, so there's a player early here in the T1 map, Nay, just trying to hunt down drones coming inside of this big tower position. Pion looking for the first point of entry here as the rest of his team have shaped up around the top floor. Seems like they are going to dedicate themselves to this top-down clear, utilizing the vertical, making sure that W7M players can't come back up through the basement floor and locking them down on the bomb site.
Now, if you're new to watching SCARZ, enjoy all of these names. Really, we enjoy them so much. We're gonna bear with us if we make any mistakes, but we hope that we get it all right. Tayo on screen now in the Capitao. The real challenging one is Sledge Washoy. Big fan of him. Honestly, I love this team so much. They have been phenomenal through the Japan League, and they've been pretty good throughout the start of this round. Now just working on opening up hatches. That meeting hatch has been made short work of, and the Banshee on the rear stairs as well.
Yeah, so look, they've gotten through the easy part of the round. I think we'll just put it blunt like that, right? They got given a long map control, a lot of free real estate. The hard part now is making the execute work. The defense of W7M is pretty fortified here. The mirror windows are going to prevent this front push from happening from inside of Freezer and Laundry, and then the back is being held down by these Banshees and a setup an elbow. That's actually quite aggressive onto Pyon here, who's just seen it jiggle peeking out double windows. So SCARZ problem solving is going to be the telltale for if they're able to convert. It seems like they're going to go for a more back-sided execute as they shape up to drop that E-box hatch.
And yet we still have players elsewhere as well. One at the bottom of the Laundry stairs, one in Freezer. Very separated, but here comes the Capitao, and this could be the key ingredient. We can see the drop is about to happen in the electrical hatch as the Hibana goes down and Washai goes in. The opener is for Nade, but it is even now as SCARZ have managed to recompose. Nade finding another makes this pretty awkward now for SCARZ as the Japanese once again respond. It's up to Rek and Tayo now with a plant position available and time to work with. Tayo starts forcing that down, and it's all on Rek here to cover. As the push comes through from Felipox, he loses his life, and it's up to the Lion himself, KZ, to clutch up in the 1v2. He's made it a 1v1. He's opening up a rotation. It's a game of cat and mouse with Rek in the advantage, but KZ can't get it done. The first round is for SCARZ.
That was a really impressive execute there. I actually called that one completely wrong. I thought they were going to go for a back-sided push, but they actually brought the Capitao and the diffuser down to the front, and what they'd done was they used the firebolts to flush out the two power positions where those mirrors could be and made sure that there were no defenders on the bomb site, and it completely vacated Tayo to be able to go in deep and look for a plan off the back of the entry kills that his teammates were able to get. So really well played there from SCARZ. It's not every day that you see a team able to take a basement defense, look so nice and clean like that, but they play that to perfection.
I gotta say, like, Oregon basement, this is one of the hardest bomb sites to attack. And, well, if we look so far in the Copenhagen Major, right? 3/4 of the rounds played on that basement have been won by the defense. 75% win rate. And yet here in a David and Goliath match with Japan going up against one of the best teams in Brazil, SCARZ have come out ahead in the first round. Now, no reason to get overexcited, but I just got to say, that's exactly the momentum that a team like SCARZ needs on their debut to set the tone for this match.
I think it's a real telltale of the character of this SCARZ team as well. You know, if you haven't watched a lot of APAC, for all of you at home, you probably think of these chaotic big teams that sort of don't really know what's going on. They try and cheese. They don't really do rounds step by step. You watch SCARZ, and it almost looks like they're not from APAC, honestly. Like, watching them in Japan League, they've really been set apart. They know how to do things properly. They do things methodically, but they know when to change the tempo. They still do have some of that Japanese identity in them, and I think against W7M, they need that mix of both to be able to set themselves apart as one of the best in APAC.
Oh no, there's a roam here from Felipox. So now changing up the site, going up to dorms. W7M have this pressure downstairs, very common setup here, and it's the mute to do it. But very aggressive. Rek was in the building 15 seconds into the round. He also got a 4K last round, by the way, on top of clutching out at the end of it. W7M also taking a bit of damage. That's Herds. Where is that player in Big Tower? Nades are coming through, and look at how close Rek is to the bomb site.
Yeah, a nice entry and control here inside a small tower, aided by some pre-placed drones, I can imagine, as Rek and Tayo are going to double down to try and put that pressure onto Felipox down below. Meanwhile, we've got the diffuser of Fish-like just outside of Master, but there is a rotation hole going inside of Closet, so he's pretty cautious to be entering into the building itself, because otherwise the defense could run around circles on him.
Love the patience that we're seeing from SCARZ. In W7M's opening game, they only dropped a single round, and here we go. Another big pick for Rek. 5 kills in the 2 rounds. You've taken down the best player in the tournament so far in KZ. Once again, Rek is getting the last laugh, and W7M are starting to realize perhaps we may have underestimated this Japanese roster.
They're doing a great job so far at setting themselves up for this master side take of the map. Being able to put the pressure down below will eventually force Felipox to make a move. Is he actually going to try and fight Rek and Tayo down there? I think the challenge here for SCARZ is being able to get the diffuser inside of the site, right? Or inside of the map even in the first place, because there is still some pressure from inside of Attic and that closet wall is still open. JV taking down Pion is not going to help their cause.
Yeah, okay. You blink and you miss it. A massive turn of events, and the C4 from Felipox shuts out Rek Herds to find his second on the round. As a quick exit from W7M as they recompose. Nice attempt there from SCARZ, but it just fell apart.
Yeah, it was a good try. I think that they identified that they couldn't get the diffuser inside of that master bedroom area because the closet was open, so there was pressure from a defender rotating through. Not only that, but there was also the angles in the pit wall of Attic that would crossfire onto the diffuser being inside the building. So what they tried to do instead was actually clear this Attic position. Didn't realize is that JV92 is sitting there to stop them in their tracks. So SCARZ trying really hard to piece together that attack were taken down as W7M retained their composure and win out that round.
Yeah, big round from JV holding on to Attic there. Now W7M are going to go back downstairs, and we have had some operator changes. The Warden is new, perhaps wary of the Capitao pick. Despite that Ying being banned, you've still got a lot of smokes available, and Herds doesn't want to let SCARZ in.
I think that's exactly right. Last time we saw SCARZ attack onto the basement bomb site, they did a really great job at fully utilizing that Capitao with the smokes and firebolts to enable the push into the bomb site. And like you said, bringing along Warden means that going for a smoke execute is no longer as reliable as you think it is a few of the attacks. So I think good switch off for W7M and perhaps just a good gun to be able to run around and inject yourself into that attack.
I can't remember whether the Kaid was brought last time. Because I know they had a Malusi, but I'm not sure if that was instead of the Warden or if they've also brought the Kaid this time. I'm going to just say that that's a change, because the effect it's going to have, right, is we've got no EMPs here on the attacking side, no Maverick. Here comes a C4. Beautiful play onto Washoy, an early kill for W7M. Not sure whether that was just a sound cue, but nonetheless, very well played and a massive early advantage.
Yeah, great read. Last time, SCARZ did the exact same thing. They cleared through the top floor and made their way in through all 3 floors of the building. This time, Herds was ready for it as he had the C4 already prepped for that master entry.
Yeah, patience now from W7M as they're just holding onto their positions. I love this double stack and
I like
as well.
it too.
Nade and KZ. If a player from SCARZ decides to get nice and aggressive early in the round, you can see how active, despite this being a very passive defense, W7M is still prepared for a bit of a rush, for an early aggression.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Anyone that comes down the freezer stairs is about to see the up-down funky town. Someone high, someone low as they round the corner and could be taken out very swiftly with Nade's shotgun. Meanwhile, Tayo, he is shaping up once again for this front-sided attack, but it's actually Fishlike who's got the diffuser in his hands, so it could be a change pace. SCARZ, they don't take things too hastily. They like to drone at the bomb site and make sure that they inform their late game.
Did I just see a trick from the Kaid? I'm not sure. It's quite small on the corner of your screen, that little picture-in-picture. And yeah, I've got confirmation from our observers. The Kaid actually managed to juggle some of the X-Kairos on that freezer hatch, and now Fishlike is going to finish opening it. But the time has ticked away quite significantly. And what's more, thanks to that early pick from W7M, for SCARZ attacking the basement with the man disadvantage, it's not an enviable position at all.
Exactly. Keep in mind the last round ended up coming down to a 1v1, although it was in the post plan. So SCARZ having the man advantage really came to play as the execute's going down. Another pick for Herds doesn't make the mission of SCARZ any easier now in 3-on-5, but thankfully Tayo is able to claim one back.
Yeah, KZ's having a rough game so far. He committed to the fight and Tayo peaked it perfectly. Now in comes the Capitao, the Incendiaries, and the Hibana's X-Kairos to try and counter these mirrors. For Pion, he wants to drop down this hatch, but he'll be very vulnerable. He has to time it with his teammates. And he does go down, but guess what? It's Herds there. A quad kill for himself and a quick cleanup. It's all that she wrote for SCARZ that round. Great domination from W7M.
that round really fell on the shoulders of Herds there. He made a massive impact through the early to mid to late round. First, he found the entry. The second pick was also to his name. And then even as the execute came through, he claimed 2 for himself. I think it was a 4K in the end for Herds to really put that round on his shoulders and claim it back for W7M. Now, 1-2 scoreline on the defense is not something that not something that unexpected out of W7M going into Oregon basement defense, but doing a good job so far.
Yeah, wow, we just saw in the replay is there. Nerves of steel for Herds. He actually stood through the flames of the Capitao and got 2 kills. Very impressive. He went down to 1 HP, but he knew he had to hold his line, and he made the difference in that round. Now, Manny, we talk about this a lot, right? It's hard to attack the basement. And when you do finally get an attack round win onto the laundry supply bomb site, what is your prize for successfully attacking basement?
You have to do it again.
It's like the Groundhog Day, the night that never ends. And so for SCARZ, unfortunately, yeah, they had a great first round, but the result 3 rounds in is kind of the same as what you'd expect anyway. At least for them now, W7M have both dorms and laundry locked. So SCARZ have the opportunity to attack a tertiary bomb site.
Yeah, here we go as well for W7M. They've actually chosen to go over to this dining and kitchen bomb site rather than going over to meeting, which has become a little bit more fashionable these days. Instead, SCARZ are going to respond by doing a pretty linear take through the small tower aided by the Osa on Pion and the thermite of Fishlike to try and create these big gaping holes into the bomb site, utilize the smokes and try and get the plant down. And the worry for me for SCARZ is that Herds has once again picked this warden, and he's playing a very proactive position here inside of the shower hallway.
Yeah, 1 bullet onto Fishlike from this MPX, and Fishlike will go down. That's your hard breach. Now, it's a nice idea here from SCARZ, as you said, the Osa, the Glaz, the thermite. Now Herds has been spotted as that Rotero drone sailed on by. Hasn't been able to clear any utility. Critically, there's that deployable shield in the hallway. SCARZ have finally made their way into small tower.
Not only that, but Fishlike as well has made his way in through that top floor. So the challenge here, oh, there we go, Herds going down is actually very big for SCARZ in their mission to get the bomb down off the back of the smokes. That's your warden and the critical operator that is going to counter the push that SCARZ are trying to do. KZ is going to try and replace that position, but it's enabled Fishlike to go up all the way onto the wall and place an exothermic charge down there.
This is excellent progress. And for everything they lost at the start of the round, SCARZ have managed to crawl on back. Some aggressive gases to try and flush out Tayo. Perfectly played. And it pushes him straight into KZ's line of sight. Really now an awkward situation. They're going to have to reclaim that diffuser.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That diffuser is in a really bad spot now for SCARZ. It's going to be Pion to try and use the Osa shield to get it back, and actually he does it quite swiftly. He can get the shield down and will be able to turn around and get the plant down, but an impact and the smoke canister to prevent them from getting in leaves them with only 50 seconds to make the execute work.
Now there's no Talon shield for Pion in pocket. Washoy is going for a backstab here from Z. And he's made that logic bomb call. He does get a kill, but he trades immediately with JV92. The smoke's gone out, and now Rek is going to try and pre-fire. He's taken down the player on the mirror. That's a huge pick, but SCARZ don't know about it, and KZ is not done having his fun. In fact, he finds yet another kill with the P90 and holds on to showers for W7M. That's 3 rounds in a row.
Really good composure once again there for W7M as the plant went down. Although Rek was able to cover one of the defenders trying to take down the planter, he wasn't able to take down KZ, who had a crossfire from inside of that shower position. I think at SCARZ, even though they had the Osa shields going down, were lulled into a false sense of security as they didn't realize just how powerful KZ's position was and be able to stop them in their tracks. He can claim 2 or 3 to his name, and now W7M have forced SCARZ to take their tactical timeout.
Credit to W7M, they're playing phenomenally right now. I honestly think SCARZ are playing great, but W7M just have so many tricks up their sleeve. Even little things like the way they threw those smokes to try and trap Tayo, force him to move, and then KZ peeked and made sure to secure that kill. The fact that they always had, impacts ready for the Osa shields. They always had a plan, whatever it was that SCARZ were going to bring.
They've done a great job so far, W7M, having a good read, I think, on exactly what SCARZ are going for. It's the little things in the round. I really love watching Oregon games like this go down because it really is the small details of every round that tell the tale of who's going to go what way, who's going to pick it up. That round, if W7M didn't have the right amount of impact grenades, that bomb could have gone down really easily from the Ossa, for example. For SCARZ, if they hadn't taken down Herds really early on, that round would have been shut out because their entire plan was going to be taken down by the Warden's presence. So all these tiny little details through the rounds eventually compound for someone winning it out. And I think that's just, I think it's a telltale of just how advanced these two teams are and how mature they are on playing Oregon.
SCARZ now, though, they're starting to fall behind quite a lot, Mandy. And while I do think a 2-4 half would be salvageable going onto their defense, I really think the target here needs to be tying this up, especially now that SCARZ have used their tactical timeout. This right here is the critical round. Have they taken a moment, taken a breath to recompose and figure out their plan of attack for this next round? W7M, though, they've thrown a curveball in the mix. You would have expected it would be going back down to basement as Laundry is now unlocked. Oh, sorry, Dorms, rather, as Dorms is now unlocked. But instead, they've gone to kitchen and meeting.
I like this from W7M. Keep SCARZ thinking, keep them problem solving. Not only that, but off the back of the tactical timeout, like you said, it's likely that SCARZ were probably talking about how to attack kids and dorms. It's probably what they expected to see. But now that the bomb site has changed to yet another tertiary one, it's forcing SCARZ to once again be problem solving throughout the rounds, and it's a completely different tale.
Wow, KZ is so aggressive and so confident in this position. He gets flashed. He's trapped now in the corner. And he does take a fight, but he goes down. Once again, SCARZ getting the better of KZ in this early round after such a massive impact he had in the last one. He goes down early, and even Philippox is pushed back.
Seems like SCARZ are going to look to try and take as much of this top floor control as they possibly can. A drone being sent out into that meeting split does identify that Herds is looking for the lurk down on the ground floor, so Washoy is going to have to be very careful on the other side. Meanwhile, the rest of SCARZ need to make a decision here. How far into the top floor are they willing to clear, and how much time are they going to dedicate to doing so? You don't want to waste all of your time trying to get Philippox down on the ground, but Herds taking down Washoy can at least even up the man advantage for W7M.
That must have been aggressive because Washoy was inside classroom. Perhaps an aggro peek from Split. Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, through an impact hole as well. W7M just plays such an active defense.
It's the small things. Like I said earlier, it really is the small, tiny individual plays. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It's just bringing the right secondary gadget and having it in the right place at the right time that really makes a difference.
Oh,
JD92 is going to look for a peek out onto this satellite balcony, but isn't able to connect the shots. Pion on the other side will look for him as Philippox still hunkering down on this top floor.
Time's ticking down now for SCARZ. What are you going to do? You've struggled so much dealing with this aggression from W7M. I think it's about time to meet some of it yourself. Tayo has sent it straight on in to tower, and he's going for this push. He does get the pre-fire and takes down JV. Now the numbers advantage. Well, it's brought back once again as Philippox is keen for a trade. Pion pushing into his position, but time is ticking away, and SCARZ show absolutely no intent of going for an execute. They need to find some kills, and W7M are exuding patience right now.
Yeah, nice idea from Tayo to try and claim it back and pinch with his teammates, but with no time left to do it, it's simply too late for SCARZ. W7M now with 7 seconds left on the clock can probably close this one out.
Oh, Pion, you gotta run, mate, and Philippox is there, ready for it. Even he could find this kill. Nade is still up to survive. Beautifully played by W7M in the late round, not giving SCARZ anything to run away with. And Mandy, 4 rounds in a row now for the Brazilians, really put SCARZ on the ropes.
SCARZ, honestly, I think are having some pretty valiant efforts through these rounds, especially through the mid-round. I think they're doing a great job at looking for these mid-round adaptations. We saw that Tayo get really proactive in his position, right? He realized that his teammates actually had players trapped inside of Big Tower and then rotated all the way around, sent himself up the stairs to actually make that pinch work. But W7M, like you're saying, are also playing this super proactive playstyle. Even though SCARZ are making these small mid-round adaptations, rotating their players here and there, looking for pinches, whatever it might be, then they are then met with another W7M player getting themselves in on the action. And I think as a result, W7M have really been running away with these rounds.
W7M just individually have really been in peak form right now. You know, the 3 OGs on this roster, the 3 that played in that SI Grand Final just, what, 2-3 months ago, Herds, KZ, and JV are all in the top 10 best players in the tournament so far. And Nade and Philippox have also had their moments, and They have quite a vast array of experience throughout their own careers as well. They are by no means rookies joining this roster. On the contrast, right, 2 players on SCARZ are still yet to find a kill for Pion and Fishlike. Really struggling at the moment. Have SCARZ been the last 4 rounds in a row.
Gosh, yeah, I hadn't even noticed that those guys are still sitting on the doughy, unfortunately, as we like to say in Australia. I think that's honestly coming back to bite them a lot. W7M, they're all on the board at the moment, and SCARZ just don't seem to have enough of a front line to be able to actually make a dent into these late rounds against W7M. I think they really need to be able to have more players on the board here and finding engagements successful to their name to close it out.
Here comes a gas. How are W7M going to try and deal with this? Oh, it's just so well played. They know exactly when to ramp up that aggression, don't they? And even though it was a great idea from Tayo to counter that mirror with the X-Kairos, W7M just had the perfect play to get the last laugh.
Once again, double trouble from W7M. The smoke grenade into the swing takes down another player of SCARZ. Thankfully, Rek there on the Nook is able to take down Hertz, who was looking for a retake back through the ground floor. On the Warden, this time Warden not as important here in the late round. There's only the smokes on Pion and a couple flashbangs as well for Washoi, so it's not a super mission critical operator anymore for the defense. Pion with the diffuser in hand is going to try and make his way in through the back of blue bunker, but it's going to be tough. It's going to come down to this Pillars mini execute.
And Pion is going to have to lead the charge with that shield. Fishlike marching his way down the stairs with his Gemini to get a bit of information, but swiftly shot out. Here comes Rek. He's had a fantastic game so far. 8 kills, but he's met with a shield. And he knows it's not an easy feat to try and move on forward and take ground here. SCARZ really need to clear out some of these key positions, but W7M don't want to give it up.
That's exactly right. This position here inside of Shaiko, as we like to call it, Fishlike can claim his first kill onto KZ, but the next point of contest will be Felipox in a very, very tough position, now stuck between quite literally a rock and a hard place as Pion is coming in through the back with the Monty shield.
And Pion's also the one with the diffuser as well. Keep that in the back of your mind. Now, there's going to be no hatch pressure at all from SCARZ, but the flash might make it possible to move in on Felipox. Fishlike finds his second. Now, Rek has gone down. That's the big fragger for SCARZ, and the rest of these players will have to step up. Pion is so close to taking down that smoke player, but Nade, he's always on the watch, and Washoi won't get the better of him. He also finds Fishlike. It's a 1v1, but JV doesn't lose those. 5 rounds straight for W7M. To dominate the first half.
And once again, very close round there for SCARZ. They made a valiant effort to attack the bomb site and break it apart 1 versus 1, trying to isolate those gunfights, but the composure of the remaining players of W7M close it out time and time again. And like you said, 5 rounds to their name is a very dominant scoreline here in Oregon.
SCARZ, they got themselves in there. They played it so well, and yet W7M, in the heat of the moment, they always have a response. That round, it was Nade. He just had a massive impact there. He got the first kill as well when the Monty started getting aggressive in blue, when that Hibana was trying to counter that mirror, and he takes Hibana's head clean off. And then he finds 2 more kills in the late round to bring it back for W7M. I'm going to be honest, a lot of people were critical of W7M after they lost arguably 2 legendary players in Volps and Julio after their 6 Invitational run. People were saying, well, there's no way W7M can continue the form that they did in 2022. But Felipox and Nade fit this roster like a glove, and I think we have a championship contender team right here.
I think we do as well. These guys are still experienced in their own name, Felipox and Nade. These guys are really chill as well. For those of you that probably haven't met these guys in real life, the entire team are pretty relaxed, honestly, W7M. I think that although they lost Julio, the main thing for W7M was they claimed the wisdom that they needed out of having him in the roster for a temporary time being, right? Julio was the person that was there to teach them the mindset, the skill set, and what it means to be at an international event and keep themselves composed. Fishlike, though, claiming the first onto JV 92s does spell a good name for SCARZ as they start out on their defense. Of course, it is the basement. We are anticipating them to do quite well here as Rek looks for an aggressive retake onto the small tower position, but taken down by KZ.
SCARZ have actually been really good at the opening engagements in this game. They've been winning them more than W7M have, but as you can see, winning the opening kill doesn't always mean the round, as we've seen 2 from W7M since then. And look at the confidence from KZ. He really doesn't care. He just marches on down the stairs, sets up his own flank drone, and he's so close to just looking for another opportunity to make a play on the bomb site.
Yeah, W7M so far doing a great job at setting themselves up here on the ground floor, although there is a player on the roam for SCARZ. What that also does mean is that there's only 2 on the bomb side, so if W7M want to make a hit, it's the time to do it now, and it's forcing Fishlight to go for a retake. There he is on the bottom of the laundry stairs, can collect 1, but there's still 3 more to go. A bit of damage going out onto Hertz, but the kill not collected as he can round the corner once again and take him down for another round for W7M. Match point.
Match point. These guys started with a rough round. SCARZ got the better of him on the very first attack, and now KZ has really led this team. I mean, I can't even say KZ. It's every one of these guys have had a massive round. A huge 1 or 2 from KZ, huge one from Hertz. Nade just 2 rounds ago. I mean, this roster is just star-studded, doesn't even begin to paint the picture. Nice spawn pick there from Fishlight, but I mean, perfect read in response from W7M, cutting off those players on the bomb site. And then as soon as SCARZ felt like they needed to make a play, KZ was there waiting to receive them. 5 match points ahead of W7M. They are continuing their domination here in the playoffs.
So tough here for SCARZ to keep into it. Last time we saw these guys in the player cams, they actually didn't look too dejected. You could hear in the comms, Pion going, don't mind, you know, go next, go next. And I think for SCARZ, look, this is such a tough first matchup to be in against grand finalists W7M. Honestly, if you're SCARZ, like, yes, it's always tough to be beaten down this hard, but you don't want to give yourselves too much, right? You don't want to be too harsh on yourselves. There's still so many games left to go here in the bracket, and they're still going to try and stick themselves into it. They are in their defending half. If there's any time for them to try and make a comeback, it's right here and it's right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no second chances in this game. Now, of course, with this Swiss system that we have for our playoffs, SCARZ will have 2 more lives left, 2 chances to keep themselves in the tournament. But you lose 3 games and you are out. You win 3 games and you're through to the finals at the Forum. W7M will be eyeing off that major trophy. They might have been in an SI final, but they still do not have an international championship to their name, as they once again show some mean eyes on this attack. Herd's looking to clear that shield, and actually it hasn't been cleared as of yet, so those were my magnets coming in handy there for Rek.
Not only that, but the trick onto the wall as well. That means that Nade will have to use his second exothermic charge to try and take it down, but Tayo still has an impact in his pocket, so Nade knows he's got to be really cautious when he goes for this push. You can hear it ring out in the background now, but it doesn't seem like Tayo has been able... Actually, it does seem like Tayo has been able to trick the second one too, so I think that means that the wall is staying closed for SCARZ.
JV did find a kill downstairs onto the Mozzie, and he spots out the second player. How does KZ find 2 on the side? Finds 3! It's all up to Pion. The 1v5 to trickle down to a 1v3, but the task is surely insurmountable. Hertz claims the victory for W7M in a dominant 7-1 over the debutantes of SCARZ. And they will continue their playoffs run here. We'll break it down after this quick break.
I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression, it's all that I wanted. The phone and affection, I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone in progression, it's all that I wanted. A phone in affection, I summon and dub it. Why you be all on my line about nothing? Why won't you go get you $1 or something? Don't hang with it who line for nothing. I see that we different, you riding, I double. I don't do discussions on bragging about hundreds. Don't go to your places, I know that they sunken. Don't call me your brother, I barely could trust it. I talked to a shorty, she bagging the bucket. And I'ma need all of my dollars on corporate, so hand me the money, I divvy the pie. I'ma give all of my people a portion to build them a fortune. I'm flipping the ride. I can't be mixy when iffy the vibe. And 40 on 50 is really the time. Why are you all on my phone like you want me? Like you wasn't pushing the kid to the side. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling.
Well, what a game that was. I'm joined by none other than Felipe. Firstly, how's it going?
Oh, it's been perfect here.
Yeah, been enjoying yourself?
Yeah, a lot.
How about that game that you just played then? How did you find it? Was it expected for you to perform that well?
Yeah, we didn't know much about the SCARZ team because they didn't play major or invitational. But yeah, it was easy playing against them.
And for yourself, despite coming second in SI 2023, obviously you managed to, unfortunately, lose 2 of your team members, resulting in yourself stepping into the IGL role for the very first time. How have you been finding that?
Yeah, it's the first time that I do the IGL role, so it's been not that easy. I'm still adjusting myself to it, but with my teammates and Igor, the coach, it's been a nice thing. Yeah.
Are there any sort of specific difficulties that you face being the IGL now?
Like I said in the last interview, I think the balance between my individual performance and the IGL, I think that's the main thing that I have to work out.
And how about having won plenty of events over in Brazil? Unfortunately, it seems like international events aren't necessarily your forte. Why do you think that might be?
I really don't know. I really don't know how to answer that question. But I think invitation in Brazil is going to be pretty good, yeah.
Yeah? And how about when it comes to playing against other aggressive teams? Do you think that might have something to do with it? Do you feel like that's where you really show your strong suit or your weaknesses, playing against aggressive teams?
Yeah, we like a lot playing against aggressive teams. But yeah, playing against safe teams like them, like they play today, like pretty slow, it's pretty easy too.
Okay, and how about what's next for you guys now, moving on forward? What does preparations look like, practice schedules and things like that?
Now we are probably going to scrim today, for maths probably, and wait for the next game tomorrow, who our opponent is going to be. Yeah.
Is there any opponent that you really want to face?
No, anyone.
Anyone and everyone, you ready to take them on? All right.
Champion have to defeat everyone, right?
Amazing ethos, as it were. So thank you so much for joining me, and best of luck moving forward.
Thank you.
Well, folks, it's been a little bit of an exciting affair so far. It's been a little bit hectic for a bunch of these teams as well, but Phase 2 is not over yet. We still have plenty of games still to go. And you know what? We've got Sonics coming on up. Oh, I'm joined once again by my fabulous analyst. Firstly, what did you make of that game, watching it?
It was, I think it was what everybody expected, right? Everybody expected that you've got teams at 2 different levels there in terms of the competition. We had big hopes in the David and Goliath kind of set up for the big upset. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. W7M are just too prolific a team.
How about yourself, Anne?
Yeah, and just as a team in total, but also there are solo players. There were moments where they had massive step-ups. In round 3, Hurst was able to pick up a few kills, standing in fire, literally. He was the end-to-death round after. Then Casey, a huge round 4, where he also held on to Showers. Very big impact, but also was entry-death after. So good performances on the side of W7M, but even if that one player does not step up, there's a whole team around them to support them in towards the victory.
I think the problem is, like, when you're going up against W7M, there isn't an obvious way to beat them because their strategy is good. They've got the best gunners, some of the best gunners out of Brazil. Their map pool is massive. What are you supposed to do as a team in terms of beating them, especially when you're a team like SCARZ, who have such limited international experience? That will have been a huge learning curve for them, and I'm sure that they will go away and learn from it.
Now, taking a look at these highlights as well. From the side of W7M, obviously yourself, Fresh, you mentioned it was a little bit of an expected result, but from the side of SCARZ, was there anything that really stood out to you? Did they surprise you? Obviously taking that first round in itself.
Yeah, I think the first round, they showed a little bit of what we were teeing them up for. When we said that they're like 2022 Rogue, where it was very 3-2-1 and they executed and they went, and they got that round. And that was great, but unfortunately, you know, Philippe Ox alluded to it there, they were slow, they were quite readable, they were fairly default, which is not necessarily something that we tend to see from a team from Japan or Asia Pacific in general either. So there's a few things for them to work on, especially if they are going to go to quite a default map in Oregon.
Yeah, the opening rounds, or the opening parts of the rounds, weren't all too bad. From SCARZ, they had the opening picks in quite a few of the rounds, but then towards that later part, it seemed like they struggled with the roam clear on the side of W7M. They struggled with those late round plays where it sort of felt panicky, and that allowed those W7M players to step up.
Well, now as we head on over into our next game, before we dive too deeply into it, we've got D+ versus Sonics coming on up. How are we feeling about that very briefly, very generally?
We're quite excited, aren't we? We think it's a big grudge match that's going to be coming in. There's a few chips on a few shoulders that need sorting out.
I'm going to quiz you on that a little bit. I'm going to put you on the spot. Well, folks, do not go anywhere because we will be right back after this break. We're going to dive into Sonics versus D+.